Hi, this is Cindy
And Michael?
from Part-Time Permies. Did you lose your voice?
No, I was just looking at the photo. Is this mirror
The
image
the
now?
no, that's not mirror image because I would be on this side.
So before you had it
No,
reversed.
I
It's
no.
the same?
Anyway, it's the same.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't know.
that's the way they see us.
I
Anyway,
know
hello.
that, but
Sorry, guys. I hope you guys have sound. So, yeah, exhausted from picking crabs. Oh, where are you at, Green
that
Raven? I
sounds
forget.
fun.
That does sound
That's not
fun.
something we get to do in the Midwest.
No. We sometimes have the freshwater clams,
There are
but that's it.
freshwater clams and there's crayfish,
Yeah. But
but we
yeah,
don't have we don't have crabs.
yeah. So I do have a little different setup here, so that's what we were kind of distracted by initially, so I apologize. Our chat is more closer to the middle of the screen so we can see that better. But it's kind of a little bit different, so we'll have to get used to it and see if we like it. But anyway, we had an extremely busy weekend, but did a lot.
Just got back from foraging a couple hour and a half ago.
Yeah, so we'll go over
Had
that a
a
little bit.
group
Big group.
structured 22 of us, I think, were out there.
There were a lot this time.
Yeah.
It was one of Nabe's guided forages, so I'll probably have a little shorter video on that. I've done really pretty extensive videos on past ones, so you can always check out
She
the
loves the
past ones.
videos, and she was running around with a GoPro
She
today. I heard
was.
she got Tom. I think Tom, her son, got a GoPro for
Yeah.
Christmas for her, and she was running around with it because she's
She had
this
it on
fun.
her head.
And she's been watching a bunch of YouTube,
Yeah.
some of the people we watch, and other people,
Yeah.
and has gotten really inspired by not doing it, but just what's out there and what
Yeah.
she can continue to learn and watch other people doing things.
Yeah,
So
we were talking about the channel Learn Your Land for foraging because he is full of
we had
information.
no idea she was watching that.
I had no idea. I was like, you should check this channel out. She goes, oh, I love him. I was like, okay, you've already checked it out. But
Yeah, and there are, and again, so she's a. I would say she's in the expert category of mushroom hunters.
mhm,
There are definitely people that know more, but
yeah.
the average person talking about mushrooms on the internet is boring for her. So,
Yeah.
because she just knows a lot
Well,
already.
she's not a mycologist,
No,
and I think
no.
that's part of the reason why she likes Learn Your Land because he gets into the science, the studies, and the scientific names and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
she's traditional
yeah,
learning versus having,
yeah,
and he has a degree.
yeah. I think, yeah, definitely in the field. I think he might be a mycologist, but I'm not sure.
If he isn't, it would be smart for him to become
Since
to
that's his
do so.
focus, yeah.
Yes.
So let's just see who's in the room.
Yeah.
We have Curie from Built on the Rock Homestead, Incense
Tina.
Shop, your mom,
Yeah.
Tina, yes.
With crabs. Make sure the crabs don't escape.
No, that's Green Raven that had the
Oh, green
crabs.
Nabe. Make
Green
sure they don't
Raven.
run away.
Yep. No. And I think that's everybody who's chatting right now. If you're just watching, hello there too. We don't know that you're in the room, and we only know the numbers. We don't know if you're who's in the room unless you're chatting with us, but that's okay. We get listeners too. So
And
yeah,
happy Mother's Day. I know some people
yeah,
are distracted, probably finishing up their weekend of Mother's Day things.
yep. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
My mom's here. I just talked to her short half hour ago.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, Kara. Um, so yeah, and we spent our Mother's Day out in the woods, and yesterday was my birthday and your mom's birthday. So happy birthday as well. Um, yesterday we actually, let me see if I can find it. There we go.
Bombs to bushels, aim high. Haven't seen her for a few weeks.
Hello.
She's in.
Hello,
yep.
hello. So yesterday I spent my birthday at a market selling pasta
For the morning. Yep.
for the morning. And we had two markets going. So I was at this one and you were at the downtown one.
I got up at 3:15 to start making prepared pastas, and went to the downtown market, which is the full 10 by 10 tent setup where we haul everything out. The market there is our smaller local Texas township market.
Yeah.
And they have a wonderful pavilion. So it's
this one. Yep.
Yeah. So you just they provide even one of the tables, so it's a real nice setup. That was the first week. Opening weekend's always Mother's Day for that Texas market.
Thanks, Kara. Yep.
Texas, not in Texas.
Not in Texas. No, Texas
Imagine
Township.
that, and it's the real name. It's the whole township.
I think there was a lot of things going on when people, at the timing when a lot of people were moving out to this part of Michigan in Texas. So it was in the news all the time, the Alamo and all of that during that period. So a lot of things in this part of the state are actually named after things in Texas, which is kind of odd
Well,
because
and in New York, Michigan has lots of New
New
York. A
York
lot of it's
names
the
too.
Indian, native
Yeah.
landmarks and native tribes which were transported around. So we took on a lot of the same names.
Oh, Butcher Baker Case-and Maker had butchered a pig today and thought about us. So
Oh wow! Yeah,
awesome. If you're still busy wrapping that up, geez, wow, that's a long day usually.
yeah. Let us know if you made anything special with it, or if you just got right now. If you just got it in pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sometimes a multi-day project to get it all broken down the way you want.
If you're doing processing
Yeah,
on it, yeah. I mean, you can do a lot in one day, but a lot of times you need to. Curing and things and resting takes some
take some
extra
time.
time. What was
Yeah.
Tina saying? Take the
Um,
knobs off my gas stove. Oh yeah, yeah. That's
oh yeah,
some of our dog classes.
they suggested that.
Some of the bigger we've
Hmm.
not really had a problem, but dogs that jump up on things or paw at things accidentally,
Yeah,
depending on your type of knobs and if they lock in, can
can
turn
turn the
on
knobs.
gas stoves especially.
Yeah,
And so they recommend removing knobs.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but cats are less likely. But
If they
yeah, big
miss,
dogs. Our Saint Bernards and our Great Danes really haven't.
no, they haven't done that.
Boomer knocked one a little bit once, but
He was the same product.
just accidentally.
Yeah, because they don't really have to put their
They
paws on the,
just do a whack and it,
but they don't have to put their paws
No.
on the counter to get to the counter. Their head is counter
Yeah, he
level.
doesn't pull. It's dogs that like to pull themselves up, and his
Yeah,
head be more like his nose would bump into it.
it was more. I would think that'd be more of an issue, like with golden retrievers or
Yeah, a
like
lot of other
the
terriers and yeah.
medium to large, not the giant so much. But um, just started skinning him. It's a guinea hog, so it's last minute decision to come. Okay. Um, and so I saw a YouTube ad that said I know cooking from scratch
Last
and
minute
it's so
decision to kill him. That's not usually the way I butcher, but if you got
yeah.
the time, sometimes you're like, well, timing wise, we're busy the rest of the summer, and we know we need it in the freezer, so we got to. We've done that where we've got to do chickens this week or whatever because to stay in line. So yeah,
So yeah,
we did a guinea hog
we
with
did
we did a lard hog. So
we did three guinea
3 guineas and then
hogs,
2 red wattles.
or was it the other way around? Two
Two
guineas and three
3 red
red
wattles.
wattles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd never done a guinea hog before. Man, their lard is soft
Yeah,
and generous. And they are. I mean, it just glitters. It's warm. It almost flows.
it like
It
melts on
barely
your
holds in there. Yeah, it just
melts on your
melts.
hands. Yeah. But it's a good lard hog, so but yeah, so we did get one video up this week, you guys. So we're getting back into things a little bit. This is the thumbnail for it. I did have a title that's the actual title of the video is something like "Where Have We Been?" Because we haven't been making a whole lot of videos other than the live shows recently. But this kind of gives a little rundown of what's been going on around here. So got that up finally.
We did a lot of foraging and homesteading and projects though over the last week.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
not yeah, we've been trying to catch them a little more on Instagram.
Yeah.
We need to be better at posting those because that's so immediate and so fast. You get a lot. You don't get as depth, but you get a lot of content
Yeah. You
really
can
quick, which
get
is
updates
nice.
on things
So
that way.
yeah,
But yeah, so no, I've been posting a bit on there. I not as much this week because this week was so busy with other things for the most part.
yeah.
We didn't have even after the market yesterday. We didn't really have any time to do anything because
No, we went to a play
yeah,
in the evening. It was a long play. It was a 2.5 hour at least.
yeah,
So quick rest, get things moved in, and get things back in freezers and stuff. And still haven't even finished my sorting all my stuff. And
look at
then we, oh yeah,
golden retriever got on the stove top and ate the
well,
tops off a whole tray of Hawaiian
Pudding ate 3
sliders.
or 4 pounds of cooked brisket a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
That's a bellyful.
yeah, it was.
I mean, we between 4 of us ate a little less than that amount, and she ate in the matter of a moment or two.
It was like 10 minutes, yo. Yeah.
3 to 4 pounds of cooked, so it was already leaned down and compacted. It wasn't. It was.
Yeah, it was.
She didn't eat much for about a day and a half.
No, she didn't. She was a little full after that.
Yeah, it was a little rough on her system momentarily. A lot of protein.
Yep. But as an update, I have an update picture. I posted this to Instagram, but
that was not after she ate the brisket.
that was not after.
She might.
This was about the time when her last class was done. I don't think it was that day, but she just finished up her obedience class training. She almost looks like she's asking for a massage or something, full body massage
My
there.
sister will like that one.
Yeah. So that went up on Instagram this week, but I just thought it was funny because she's completely stretched out. So 13 moons, hello, happy Mother's Day to you as well.
The Irish Wolf ate all the chocolate chip cookies, yeah.
Oh boy, they're not supposed to have chocolate, but we had one who ate a whole box, or Saint Bernard ate almost a whole box of granola with raisins in it.
He was probably only 6 months to a year old. He
Yeah.
was still somewhat puppyish.
Yep.
Yeah, we were a little concerned about the raisins.
Yeah.
Talked to the vet, but again, he was so big, and there's a lot of raisins in a box of granola, but there's a lot of grain, so they said just watch it, and he was fine.
Yeah.
Of course, they give him a lot of water. There's a lot of sugar in granola. Like, make sure he has enough water.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely fine.
And a lot of fiber in granola.
Can you imagine eating we can't eat a whole box of granola. It's really filling.
Bellyache. Yeah.
It was like Quaker style, traditional granola.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, other things that happened this week, during the week, we went for a walk in the woods earlier in the week and didn't see a whole lot of mushrooms in our woods, but we ran across this guy.
Yeah, I was like, hey, check that out. Yeah. Tried to see if Pudding could figure it out. She had no clue.
She passed it right by initially.
A couple times.
And then she came back and sniffed it.
You picked it up, and she finally smelled in the end, and where I'm sure it was breathing, and she could smell that it was alive and had a little bit of interest. But she wasn't that interested. Never seen a turtle before.
Yeah.
This was about 5 inches probably across.
I want actually. The lengthwise. Widthwise, maybe lengthwise. I want to say it was like 9 or 10 because it was almost my whole.
It was it wasn't large, but for a land turtle, it was a nice turtle.
It was a nice turtle. It's an eastern box turtle, which you don't see very often. You usually see painted turtles for the land turtles in this area.
Yeah.
But that one's an eastern box turtle, which I don't know if I've actually ever run into them. I double checked the type online, so
we left it alone. She picked
it up so I can put it back down.
It's in a wettish, semi-wet area of deep forest, and just was along a tree stump, and we left it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice find.
Yeah, so it was and then we have other nature. This one's nearby our chickens. We have
outside the door,
Yeah, we have bluebird houses.
And they have a couple of nests a year, so.
Yeah, they usually raise about 2 to 3 clutches every year. So this is the first clutch of this season. I could only see one in there, and actually I wasn't even sure if they had eggs in there, even though I'd seen them go in and out, because the eggs are so close to the front that you can't. I take a picture and I couldn't get it in the picture.
It's amazing though with cell phone. It used to be hard to get these pictures. If you notice, contractors and stuff just run around, stick their cell phones in holes, try and find wires, pipes, leaks. It's so much easier to
take a picture.
And here you can throw your phone up so fast and get a picture. You really don't disturb nature.
Yeah. In fact, it thought I was coming to feed it apparently, because it definitely opened its mouth ready for food. But that little one. So there's at least one in there. There might be 2 because
that's right by our coop.
It is right by our chicken coop, and these guys come back and make a nest in this bluebird house every year.
Every year, they're there all the time.
So, well, that was fun. Have you ever had turtle soup?
No.
We have not.
I hear it's good. I hear it's bland. Right now, most turtles are fairly endangered, at least the sea turtles that are traditionally used for turtle soup. Most turtle soup that was traditionally sold frequently did not even have turtle. It is a delicacy during Lent because the Catholic Church deemed in a discussion of that, question back to the Vatican that is it meat or not, and they came back to the New World, no, it's not. So it became very popular as a Lenten Friday item, especially along the coast and into Mexico, and still in Latin America still is. Problem is people have way overtaken the turtles. So you can get turtles sometimes in Chinatown in New York, and I'm sure in Chicago and other places. Problem being things like turtle, and they sell them live, turtles and frogs and amphibians and some of those things tend to carry a lot of diseases and virus when they're sold in that form and held in captivity. So it is not, regardless of limitations of
It's
how
not
much is
very
available.
there's not much
They
water
don't
in there.
change the water; it's too hot. So regardless of preserving them, just so you know, it is not safe to buy those items.
In Chinatown.
In China, it's you know, for any of those like eels and things. I like buying stuff in Chinatown. I know some things people say there's, you know, things are dirty or I won't buy anything. I love the Chinatown markets in New York, but I do stay away from the live fish are fine and the crabs things. I don't buy and mess with those because they're just not like good sources and care frequently. But yeah, it's supposed to be good. I just, you know, have avoided it because I know it's somewhat protected.
Noah's Ark says she has a nest in our porch light, and she dive bombs them whenever they come in or out. These guys actually fly away whenever we go take care of the chickens. They fly up into a nearby tree and watch from there, and then come back
right
when we
back.
go.
Yeah.
So
we don't bother them. Again, they keep coming back. They like
that spot. So. I mean, we have like 10 bluebird houses on property, and this is really the only one they really come back to every year.
I like eels. I barbecue eel and all, you know, all that. I enjoy cooked eels. It's that you can buy live eels and things in Chinatown, and but it's really the amphibians that are, I mean, again, very susceptible. So
well, that turtle's a reptile, but
and that's and reptiles and stuff. But yeah, eels I enjoy. Barbecue eel. I've had Italian style pickled eel in white vinegar, grilled larger eels. It's
Have you had the Dutch style?
I would say the white vinegar eel that Tony gave me and made at Christmas is probably very similar.
Yeah, they do have a white sauce on theirs too. Yeah, but yeah, so that's a very Dutch thing. I tried some in the Netherlands, but it was kind of a creamy, vinegary, creamy sauce on it.
Yeah, so that would have been a sour cream and vinegar, probably like the herring. No, the Italian one is cooked in a strong white vinegar, or cooked and then finished in a strong vinegar. And it's actually a little gelatin because it's cold, so it kind of gets gelatinous from the cooking. But it really tastes like white vinegar, so it's a little takes you back if you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I think the Dutch ones are creamier, but anyway, I was coming back around to our foraging because I did get a few pictures pulled quickly after going foraging and back to before we started this live show. So this is really what we were going out for. So I'm starting with, you guys probably, most people know what this is, but I'll throw it out there. Guess what kind of mushroom this is? It's one of the most popular, great beginner mushroom. Just throw it out there. I think there's a little bit of a lag on our video, so might take a second for people to come up with the answer on it. But we had a group of, as Mike said, about 20, 22 people.
Client asking questions that I need to answer.
Oh, okay. We had a group of about 20, 22 people and ended up
families, kids.
Yeah. We went to, it was a guided forage with Nabe, went to the farm that she works on.
So they have 300 acres of diverse, cultivated and foraged, all natural. No, really, they're not spraying anything. And they do have some fruit trees that are minimally sprayed, but
these were under old peach trees that they don't use.
Old orchard.
And yes, everybody's answering. Everybody says morel. Yes, it's a morel. That's a blonde morel. We found a couple types of morels.
I think 3 types.
Yeah, 2 to 3 types. These guys, I was looking at them. I actually think these are the ones that Learn Your Land was talking about this week on the spring foraging that he did just in the last
Blonde
week.
morels are among the last ones to come up, so it means morels are just about done.
Yeah. So these are, I believe, they're a type of yellow morel. I believe they're the ones that are the diminutiva morels, which are a little smaller than some others, but some of these got actually pretty darn big.
Yeah, some were approaching 3 to 4 inches. They were nice.
Yeah.
And they're fully mature. They're almost to get spongy. They're on their last, really good picking right now.
Yep. And we did find one other spring mushroom type, and it's actually another one that was covered in Learn Your Land video this recently.
It's the right time of year for him.
Yeah, because he was doing spring foraging in Pennsylvania, which is only slightly ahead of us. So
they could be very, very similar, or a week or two ahead of us.
Yeah. You've never had a morel mushroom high. They're good. I don't like
Oh, yeah.
grocery store mushrooms, but I like those.
So morels, there's been talk.
These aren't
They've
morels
been
on this
running
picture.
anywhere between $40 and $80 a pound
Yeah.
this year. I think Michigan, our areas had a pretty good season.
Hmm.
Last year was a very good season.
Last year,
Um,
no, not as
well, a
much.
lot of no, it did. A lot of people up north. We
Yeah,
didn't,
we didn't.
but overall the state had a very good. And again, it
So
changes
we
with the
didn't have enough
climate.
rain for around here
Yeah.
that much.
Nabe had quite a few last year.
Yeah.
And she had some big ones
But it
because
was a shorter season.
we
This is a
got we
longer.
got dumped at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've gotten two big rains many times that started and then
We got our morels started coming, and then we got 2 inches of
yeah. The
snow,
hard
and
part
then they
is,
still kept
well,
coming.
we had a hard frost
Yeah,
last night, Saturday
yeah, we
night.
did.
So that's probably why they've softened some of these
Yeah,
morels. They
that's
were in
true.
areas that were a little bit protected, but that cold was not great for them.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, just saute them in butter.
Morels are a lot of people think they're among some of the best. They're definitely rare because they don't come all year. They only come when the soil is warm enough. So basically, a few weeks before Mother's Day, right up until now, and sometimes they can extend another week or two.
Five bombs to bushels.
If you go up north, they can run deep into June.
Yeah.
But in southern Michigan, we're right in the heart of it and done.
Yeah, so you can actually almost do a morel tour across Michigan and get like
If
a
you're
month and
serious
a half.
about collecting, yeah, and
Yeah.
you know where you could start in, Indiana, Ohio, or wherever,
Mm-hmm.
and you could move weekly. You could keep moving forward up through the UP, and yeah, you could make a month or two of it if you're gonna
Yeah.
willing to drive.
Yep. But these other ones, I don't have a great picture. I'll put it in the video once I get it together. These are actually very young inky cap mushrooms, which are also edible before they start turning color. So the name actually comes from,
I would have had a hard time identifying
yes,
those.
I
I would
would.
have left those alone as unidentified
I would
mushrooms.
say, yeah, these are a
But
little bit harder. We did see some initially that you could see the cap starting to turn black. They basically self-digest after a while.
yeah, they
Once
get
they
kind of
open,
slimy.
yeah, they get slimy.
We've seen them here, but in the much more mature
Yeah, so it's
stage.
knowing what they are when they're young is the trick. And
Yeah, I'm
I
not confident at all on those.
no, so these are ones Nabi pointed out to us as young inky caps. There is a good description of them on your Learn Your Land if you want to see one of his recent videos just in the last week or two is spring foraging. So that is again another one to keep. I wouldn't say that one's a beginner one. Morels are pretty much a beginner mushroom.
Yeah, they're pretty. You
Hard. There's a false
if
morel, but
yeah, and
it looks
the core isn't is got webbing in it, and the gills, or it's
yeah,
not gill, but the outside lace
it
looks
looks
totally
different.
different.
Um,
Morels are a pretty safe pick.
they're completely hollow, by the way. So if you see them something that looks like a morel, if it's not hollow, it's not a morel.
They don't have true gills. They're attached to the stem.
Yeah.
They don't flute out, and yeah, they're so morels are very earth for the few people who haven't had them. They're very I think they're semi-intense flavor, but they're earthy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're extremely strong in any way. They're just a little bit potent. So they work really nice in like red wine sauces and meat sauces and
Mhm.
gravies. What you would saute them in butter or oil and put them into your finishing sauce, not cook with them. They make wonderful soups if you have them kind of falling apart. You puree them. They're very rich. And we had a hazelnut and morel. Well, or no, it was porcini. It was porcini and hazelnut soup that we
Mm.
used to make Italian soup one place. Kind of pricey. It was good. And then cream. You can finish cream sauces, and of course
Yeah.
risotto is a classic. Making a mushroom, saute the mushrooms, making a mushroom risotto with lots of oil, olive oil, and butter and cheese. Please don't put heavy cream in your risotto. It is creamy. It is not with cream traditionally.
No.
But yeah, mushroom risotto is classic, and a few other things. But or just quick sauteed and put over beef or venison or something. It's nice.
Yep.
I find them very good. I think most people that like mushrooms like morels.
Yeah.
And some people that don't like other types of mushrooms still like morels.
I don't like grocery store mushrooms. I like morels. So very nice. Some people, I will say, if you haven't had them before, try a little bit at first because there are some people who actually have a reaction. That goes for anything, any new food,
It's
really.
very few people have reaction to morels.
Yeah, but there are
There are
few.
some.
There are few. So the next one, I'm gonna put it up here. Has is one of the vegetables that Nabi pointed out, and this is
It's a
one.
good spring.
It is a good
Into
spring.
early summer.
Yeah, this is a good spring vegetable. It's one you don't want to walk through in short. So can anyone guess what this one is?
The Dutch put it in cheese.
The Dutch do put it in
And
cheese.
some
I've
Americans.
had it in cheese. It's
It's
really good.
It's really. We have a local cheese seller that has it out of Wisconsin. Cheese People typically has a. Well, they use two herbs, two items in their cheese. Well, this being one of them.
This being one of them. So anybody have any idea? So these leaves, kind of they're bigger.
Sawtooth.
Yeah, they're sawtooth leaves. There's this variety that has really long, almost arrowhead shape.
Sort of mint-ish looking leaf, but much bigger.
Much bigger, almost like strawberry-ish looking leaf.
Yes,
there we go. There they come in. Stinging nettles. Yes, this is stinging nettles. There's also a wood nettle that has a more rounded leaf, but similar appearance.
They're pretty usable. There's a lot of, I mean,
yeah,
they have a nice mild flavor.
Tired?
I'm a little bit tired. I haven't worked. Yeah, I never really cooked with nettles much until a few years ago, and we finally and they're I've been putting them in. I like them with eggs with omelets.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can do soups and purees and bake them into I mean they're they're tasty. They're very tasty.
They're very definitely very tasty. You can use them a lot of ways. You can put them in breads. The Dutch put them in cheese. Yeah. You could put them in omelets. You can make soup with them. We had it in a miso soup today.
Was there some in the miso soup?
Yeah, that's what Nabi put in the miso soup. There's also some other edibles in this picture. If you look behind, there's of course dandelions there. The purple dead nettle is in back there, and I believe some of these grassy looking things aren't actually grass, they're onions.
I think the top of the purple dead nettle tastes a lot like if you slice and have a raw white mushroom, like grocery store mushroom, and you eat them like say on a crudité platter where they're raw or sliced in a salad.
I didn't think they taste
I think they taste somewhat similar to that specific raw
I don't like the mushrooms, and those I
like raw cultivated mushroom sliced. I don't mind them like sliced thin on a salad or.
We did see wild raspberry canes as well. Everywhere. We didn't get a picture of them.
They're all over there.
They're all over the place, and their leaves.
We were eating some of their leaves, so we ate. Let's see, we ate raw dead nettles. We did not eat stinging nettle.
No, because you have to cook that.
You have to blanch it. A dandelion head. I ate raspberry leaves. I ate chives, wild onions. What else did we have in there?
Oh, there was a whole bunch of stuff in Nabi's.
No, I'm thinking things that we had. Cleaver. These were actually things that picked and ate raw today. Yeah. There was clover. I did not eat any clover.
No, I didn't eat clover, but there's tons around. Cleavers was there. Garlic mustard.
Garlic mustard, which is fairly strong raw. I eat small amounts, not bad. Yeah. Garlic mustard. I think there was something else. Between that and between our foraged bibimbap, which was dinner, and our miso tofu soup with greens, and then she had about 4 types of kimchi that had ramp kimchi, which is amazing. She had them pickled, and she had them in kimchi.
And then she had a root kimchi with the dandelion root and burdock,
and I think some sweet Sicily, which was pretty strong. And that's like really class. She grew up in a forested northern area of Korea, so that would have
northern South Korea.
Yeah, so that would have been very, very traditional. Something that a foraged kimchi would have been built out of. So if you think about how many wild foraged edibles we had in dinner, it's almost too healthy. You almost feel like you're going to get sick because it's too healthy. Of too high nutrients.
Yeah. This next one is not one you eat. It's more medicinal, but anybody recognize this fuzzy leaf?
There's some cleaver next to it, I think.
No, I think that's too small to be cleaver. I think that might be some vetch or something.
Oh, maybe a vetch.
Yeah, and there's some clover next to it as well.
You can eat those.
Yep. But the main fuzzy leaf in the middle, who knows what that one is? Give you a second to throw out some guesses. I've talked about this one before. I did a foraged, I guess it's not really foraged food, it's more foraged medicinal, but you can use it in tea, dry it and use it in tea as well. This is one plant that some people will smoke it to relieve bronchitis, or will like burn it like incense and breathe the smoke from that.
No, it's too big for lamb quarters.
But it
That's a
is.
good one. We didn't talk about that today. I don't know
Hold
if we
on.
ran across any lamb
No, we didn't.
quarters. But it's
Green Gables
common.
has it right though. Green Gables, look
Oh
at
yeah.
hers.
Oh yeah.
Mullen, yes, it's mullen. It's got a. These leaves get much bigger through the season, and the first year has a rosette like this, but the second year will
So
shoot up a
those leaves
stalk.
are like 3 or 4 inches, but they can be a foot.
Yeah,
And they're probably deceptively. The size is probably deceptive in that
because they're
picture.
young. It's a young
Yeah.
plant, so
So it's much bigger than lamb's quarter.
yeah,
Even the smallest leaves in the center might be the size of a large lamb quarters leaf.
yeah,
But the fuzziness does look similar.
yeah. So yeah, I mean it's hard to get size
Because we
perspective
had
on a
lamb's
picture.
quarter in New York growing out of our stone wall.
Yeah,
Lots of it.
we had a retaining wall holding up a garden, so yes, we had it growing there. So I think that was the last of the pictures that I got up here. Yes. I didn't really have any local food pictures for dinner this week. I had
What did
this
we
one.
do? I mean, I cooked some. We've eaten pretty well.
I mean, there's some local food in this picture that I chose. It's just the one I chose. A lot of this isn't local,
yeah, I'm
but
trying to think what we've had for dinner.
yeah, we've been so busy this week. But this one, by the way, we'll start the Ask the Chef. But if you, as we kind of go through this, if you throw out any questions you have for Mike for Ask the Chef, you could go ahead and do that. This is just, kind of store-bought falafel and naan, but you made out of yogurt that we
So
had.
we had some organic yogurt and we had some goat yogurt, or maybe it's different. Yeah, I just had some basic
Was it
nice
the grass-fed
yogurt.
yogurt?
We had some grass fed. We had some organic, and then we had some grass fed. Now,
Yeah.
our local big grocery store, Myers, has brought in some new goat yogurt and an organic and a grass fed yogurt, and some of them have been on special, where it was like $3.99 for the 24-ounce container of plain yogurt, which that's usually they're $5 or $6. That's pretty good buy.
See,
And so I took some of that. I took in some garlic chives.
and this is the sauce underneath.
And made the tzatziki sauce with garlic chives, olive oil,
and
and
yogurt.
a lot of times I add in a little granulated garlic or granulated onion because it's such an easy way to boost the flavor, and a pinch of salt.
Mhm.
Sometimes put pepper, but and then a lot of times people put shaved cucumber in. I didn't have a cucumber. No, I used cucumber. I did. I had diced cucumber in there.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the shave. So we made a quick tzatziki. It was a prepared falafel, which is actually probably the best prepared falafel I've had. And then I
kind of like a Euro, kind of more. It's
falafel. So it's really a falafel sandwich.
We use naan as the bread instead of pita, but we basically had a falafel
It's
sandwich.
The same premise and flavors are similar. So we had diced tomatoes, cucumbers. I had some lavage that was gifted to me, so that tastes like
which
celery.
Some people call lovage.
Yeah, which is a wild celery flavor. It's strong, so I put a little bit of that in.
And the pickled mushrooms on top.
We had a couple pickled mushrooms we've been hanging around for a year just to feel like we need to get rid of these.
Yeah.
And then we had some of the kimchi ramps, which were really good in there.
And we put that in
And
there.
it's common. So the pickle, I put pickles in mine, the spear pickle, dill pickle. Yeah. It's common in some parts when you make a falafel sandwich to put pickle in it. I think it's more common in Lebanon. Which I grew up eating falafel sandwich from Jerusalem Garden in Ann Arbor and a couple other places. They like the pickle in there. We also had some hummus is common to coat because falafel is pretty dry. It's either chickpea or lima bean or a combination. Fava bean, not lima bean. Fritter, but it's kind of dry, and so you need some form of hummus and the garlickiness or the yogurt sauce or both to bring the sandwich together and it's a super flavorful, super healthy. So it's probably a little bit high with all the pickled things in it. But yeah, for a non meat meal, it's very really filling and enjoyable.
Completely vegetarian meal there.
Yeah, and I really like the pickle in it. I think it's sort of like a Cubano. I think the pickle and the acidity and the salt make the sandwich.
I really like the pickled mushrooms on it.
Yeah,
that was good. Really good. But yeah, I think
those are pickled oyster mushrooms primarily.
Yeah. So, and
I made
again, so
those in
another
July or August
a
last
year
year.
ago, yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
I'm like, we need to get these out of here.
So yeah, that was a good dinner. Some of it was like the mushrooms were foraged. Those oysters were from like
And then the
foraging.
next day, I had lamb. I had Baba Turk, which is a food truck, food trailer at the Wednesday
Turkish,
market,
yeah.
which is a Turkish. They make a Turkish sandwich or a couple different ways, and they do a spit roasted lamb, which they season, and they basically pack it like a gyro, but it's not Greek, it's Turkish. So,
Yeah.
and it's all lamb instead of a lamb blend or a. So it's a little bit stronger. So I had that the next day for lunch. So
And by the way, our local Greek restaurant has a description of gyro and the history of a gyro, which a lot of people in New York and probably other places too call it a gyro.
yeah.
They actually say, no, it's not gyro, it's a gyro.
New York, everybody calls them gyros. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
But no, they around here somewhat too.
Well, yeah, and people do
Yeah.
because that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But people out of, I mean, just everybody calls it a
It is
gyro.
technically not made in Greece.
Yeah.
It was made by Greeks who moved to France first to make a sandwich that
And now
was,
it's served all
yeah.
over the world. Of course, if you get traditional tacos and you get them, you get like
Oh, zatar is a
the
good name for,
you get the barbacoa style tacos and the California style tacos. They stack and spit roast the same and use the same process. And we have a guy who does pork. Um, he does Greek style with pork stack, so it's between the California, the spit roasted tacos, and then but pork is different because you usually get chicken or lamb or the beef blend, and so but you can get them pre-stacked as the mass, like packed on the traditional gyro meat. But the really good ones, they thin slice it, they usually marinate it, rub it, stack it,
mm,
and then they roast it all day. And when you get it the traditional way, it's amazing.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't matter what meat. We do have a place called Shawarma King in town, a couple of restaurants. They're really good.
yeah.
They do shawarma.
And by the way, 13 Moons, did you know what zatar actually is?
Yeah, that's a good.
That's the name of the
Do you
restaurant in
want to?
Portland.
Yeah, that's a good.
Zatar, do you have any little, it's a
No, not
seasoning.
right now. Frequently, usually I have Zatar around.
Yeah, it is a seasoning, and it's usually um, in Lebanon. It would be foraged, and around the Middle East, it would be foraged, but it uses sumac, thyme or oregano, and what was the third thing? Sesame.
Sesame, and it does vary. I had a really cool one that was
Yeah.
a specialty one that was gifted to me, and I forget what the other ingredient was really good. I think it had some. Sometimes it has some fenugreek in it.
Hmm.
That one had fenugreek. But yeah, you almost always have sumac. You always have thyme.
Hmm.
And the toasted sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, give it a nice
And it's usually a
balance.
wild thyme.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can actually almost
the sumac's pretty much the same as the sumac we have here, though.
it's there's so many different varieties
Yeah,
of sumac,
it's
but it
very
has the same flavor. So it's that tart flavor that you get, and you can make it from staghorn sumac here, or you can make it from um, grind up the smooth red sumac. Poison sumac's not actually a real sumac, from what I read. It's actually in a different family, but looks
in the
similar.
poison family.
It's in the poison family. It has the same chemical as poison ivy in it, so that people are allergic to. Some people, most people, are allergic to.
It's funny. Hummus changes a lot. I think so. Your husband, Tina, doesn't like hummus.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a chickpea. Of course, you can grind fava beans, lima beans, or a white bean or white bean. You can make other things that are very similar into paste.
yeah.
But people varied a lot in how sour, how much tahini. I like it with a lot of tahini, which is the ground sesame, which almost tastes like peanut butter in a way. It's a little bit different. How much garlic, how much vinegar. So it can get, even though it's simple, there are so many variations and styles around the world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the commercial hummus is they add a lot of water, they fluff it up so it's nice and soft, but it cuts and they so it cuts down the cost. Chickpeas aren't that expensive, but the tahini is, so they use less tahini. So I find a lot of the commercial ones have preservatives in them
Hmm.
to hold them, to acidify them, or to keep them from molding. And such, and I find that they taste not nearly as good as when you make a fresh one.
Yeah.
And when you have it warm, like lightly warm out of just blending it, it's really good. It's good cold and a day or two later.
So, hi farming in our backyard, and
Yeah.
your mom was asking questions. Speaking of pickles, do I have any cravings? And if yes, what natural way to say it? I haven't had really any specific cravings other than some things will upset my stomach a little bit that I didn't realize until after I eat, and some things seem to
Greens, raw
serve
greens,
more
and
the
lettucey things.
cruciferous.
Yeah.
Cruciferous, not the romaine's fine and stuff. It's more like kale, and it's more the cruciferous vegetables and brassicas and all those that I'm having a little harder time, I think, digesting. Turnips did it a little bit when we had that the other day. It tasted great, and then afterwards my stomach was a little bit off. Um, but things that are settling it are not things you would think of. Like if you have the flu, you usually eat saltines and stuff, and those are doing like nothing. Things that settle my stomach would
Protein,
protein,
meat and
fat.
cheese and fat,
Yeah, I
peanut
think it's.
butter.
Well, I haven't tried peanut
Never tried
butter that
peanut
much,
butter.
but yeah, cheese, avocados,
They're fat. Yeah, they're fatty items.
yeah, the fat yogurt. So I think it might be a little bit of the fattier items or the protein items that actually settle more. So that's kind of what I've been going. I haven't really wanted much of the carbs either. They don't settle my stomach. I eat it with other things, but it's like it's not something that really settles my stomach if I'm feeling a little off. So yeah, that that actually what, and there's certain things that seem to be taste, not that I crave it, but that seem to really taste really good to me right now after I've had it. It's not like I thought of it like this yogurt sauce. I just asked him if he could make some more because that was really good. And we still have some falafels.
So the way you make really good tzatziki is really good yogurt. So a lot of times people use Greek yogurt, but I think that anything that has full fat, even Greek yogurt is low fat.
Ozark, you're funny.
If you look at the ingredients and you look at how it's made traditionally, they use a fuller fat, whether it's goat or sheep or blended or cow. And because the strained yogurt that's low fat, it gets gritty, and then unstrained yogurt gets a little watery. But I think a high quality, flavorful yogurt really just makes the difference. Adding some olive oil and a decent olive oil, swirling in a little extra virgin olive oil, also enriches it and brings out a lot of flavor. Those are neutral. Then you can add in your other herbs and cucumber or whatever and lemon juice and such. One thing is also fun when you're playing with guacamole or you're playing with hummus. Using a lot of times you use lemon juice or lime juice. Try playing with a little white vinegar. Just a small drop of white vinegar can really bring it out, because it's neutral. It's interesting how that can totally change the flavor in your hummus or guacamole, and push it forward when it feels a little flat. Citrus juice works well also, but you're going to identify the citrus for good or for bad. So.
Yeah. So Tina craved pork.
I'm always craving pork chops. Pork chops are always good.
Well, I'll take bacon any day. I like that better than pork chops,
yeah.
but bacon, some pork sausage.
Oh, we did. I took some pancetta. What did we put that with?
Oh,
that was in the soup. I had a bunch of root vegetables. I had some broth and some egg noodles. And there was a throw together. I was trying to use up stuff. Yeah. And I pulled out some pancetta.
Yeah, that was in the soup. So, Noah's Ark craved watermelon. Well, I don't know. It's just, yours was canned tomatoes and sweet and sour.
Canned tomatoes have a lot of umami and a lot of glutamate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flavors there.
And Carrie had a neighbor years ago who ate tuna fish the whole time. That's one you have to watch because they can have a lot of heavy metals.
Heavy metals, unfortunately. It's got a lot of good protein, and it's got a lot of good fat. It's got a lot of omega-3. So I could see if you're low on protein or on good fats, how your body could be making that adjustment. But yeah, you really got to watch
some of the
heavy metal in any of your larger fish, which is
more the predatory fish.
Yeah.
But that was one thing we had. The tuna earlier a while ago, about a month or so ago. We made a big thing of tuna. I was like, I'm only supposed to have like one serving a week, but that did taste really good to me too. And it might have been just mayonnaise in there.
Well, the mayonnaise and the salt, but I do think that you have a lot of aminos, and the breakdown of canned tuna between the good fat and the breakdown of the tuna and the protein, it's got a lot of nutrients in it.
Yeah. So Mexican extended family member keeps the avocado pit in the guacamole to prevent it from browning.
Lots of people do that. When I was in culinary school, a lot of people swear by that. A lot of, everything from Cuban to Latin, Latin families. I have.
Yeah,
Hello. What's up? What's
Somebody's coming to say hi. Did you want to say hi?
I don't know. I have not found it to be extremely effective. I think it may be helpful. The thought is, if the pit is in an avocado, it never browns. It's when you expose it to the air. I'm not sure that throwing the pits in and then covering it with plastic slows it down much. However, covering with plastic breathes a little bit, slows it down some. Adding oil over the top because it blocks the air, dressing in some oil helps. One of the biggest things I find is actually, and citric acid as an antioxidant. The problem is the acid burns it eventually, and while it blocks enzymatic activity, the acid starts to then break it down and eventually brown. The best thing I have found is dipping it in a salty water. So you make cold salt water similar to that you make pasta or something. You just dip it in there. And when you dip it in, the salt interacts with the enzymes and prevents the enzymes from browning, and it lasts longer than anything, and you don't taste it. Taste salt. You can do that with apples and pears too. Some people say that apples and pears, they taste salty. No, I think you left them in there too long. They say, oh, it tastes salty, it's not good. But a lot of people don't like the lemony flavor of their apples and pears. They would rather have the slight salty enhancing flavor. And so that's a good way if you're trying to hold a fruit salad or an avocado, is dip it in cold salt water. And just dip it in a pretty salty and pull it out, and then, or take your cut pieces and dip them in there quickly. Yeah. The other way to do it is cut all those things and eat them right away, but that's not practical many times. So I don't know if the pit greatly enhances it. I know it doesn't make it worse. And it is a lot of people, have done that traditionally.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other Ask the Chef questions?
What do you put in falafels? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you can make falafels at home. So they sell these boxes.
We bought those. Those weren't
We
homemade.
bought those. They were pre-made and they were pre-cooked, and they were actually really good because they can become very tough. And I think it was a Costco-driven product. They were a little overpriced, but not too bad. I mean, it was a big container, so considering the volume, it wasn't bad.
No.
And they really did taste good. So there's lots of formats of making falafel. So it's made with either chickpeas or fava beans, typically dried. So you need to soak them overnight and rehydrate them, and then you grind them. So you can use a Cuisinart and kind of mash it. I like to use a meat grinder. Even a small meat grinder, because it's not real hard. Even that you put on your KitchenAid type meat grinder is fine, or a hand crank. So its primary source is beans, and you add to it things like onion. We like to put some leek in it. A lot of times it has a good amount of cumin. Can have green onions, parsley, salt, pepper, and some have a pinch of flour, but you really don't need the flour in. I've seen people I've seen silly recipes that had egg. You don't need that stuff to bind it. And so you grind it, and then you form a patty, and then you throw the patty, you deep fry the patties. The hard part is it browns very fast, so you need to keep the oil down, clean oil, and keep the temperature down enough. It doesn't get too dark before it cooks through. It needs some time to cook. Some people put a pinch of baking soda in also to leaven it and soften it up a little bit. And baking soda changes the pH, which tends to soften things.
Can you use canned garbanzo beans?
I don't. They're too soft. I would buy, and in fact, the packaged dry ones are really cheap. Yeah. You use the canned cooked garbanzo beans to make your hummus. So you drain out the water and you puree that, and you can make hummus just by your tahini and whatever.
Any of you who don't know, garbanzo beans and chickpeas are
same thing. Yeah.
So
and I like to do half fava beans, half chickpeas. It's usually pretty garlicky. So onion and garlic product. You can adjust it slightly more with other things. Grind it, make a patty, a thick thickened patty, and then you deep fry them. They're usually little discs. Sometimes they're a little bit oval shape. And you fry them out and then serve them warm. Frequently, they're crushed. You can't see it in the picture that we put up, but frequently people crush them a little bit when they make a sandwich. So you can have the patties, the falafel patty is eaten as a, with a salad, or it's eaten with other vegetables.
Yeah.
But a falafel sandwich, which I find is convenient, is the warm, whole or crushed discs, and then the accompanying garnish, where I think it really becomes flavorful.
So what I did for lunch actually was I took, because those naans weren't really great for holding the sandwich.
Dry pretty easy, or grow pretty easily. We tried growing.
We grew them last year or the year before. But those patties, I actually took them to work in a separate container from the other container. I had the extra cucumber and tomato and tzatziki sauce, and I went and heated up the falafel patties and the naan. But I ended up, instead of making a sandwich, because the naan was really too small to make a good sandwich, I just broke up the patties and put them in with the yogurt and the
you can make a non-green vegetable,
basically
salad.
Made a salad.
Of course, the other things that people commonly have with the fresh, the fresh vegetables or lettuces, people add in things like hot peppers, olives, stuffed grape leaves, all those Mediterranean things. So you can build a really nice. Sometimes when you put those things together, it's called a meze platter, and that can be used as an appetizer. I like doing the meze platters for weddings and events because it's a little different. It's got a lot of good flavors. It's not too heavy. It's got good acidity and salt, so it makes you hungry. You can have it with a cocktail or a glass of wine or beer. It works pretty well, and you can then add in meat. You start building it up with things like kafka or kebabs if you want to add in more meat. So it also works if you're doing summer grilling and you want to have a vegetarian item available, or you want to have some lighter items and bring down the amount of meat or the cost. It works really well for hot summer picnics because it's pretty refreshing and it doesn't sit in your stomach like because it's not so heavy. But it's.
Isn't that the bean in Silence of the Lambs? It's been a long time.
Fava beans, yes, with brains, yes.
Was that?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, everybody always.
The fava beans.
Yes.
I haven't. It's been beans. So long since I've had.
You can get brown. The brown fava beans are the dried ones. Some of the patties though are actually kind of green, either from the herbs or from the chickpea. And depending on what country through the Mediterranean and the Middle East, they'll swear by their flavor.
Yep.
And whether it's chickpeas or fava beans.
And their herb mix and all that they put in there.
Yep.
So it will be slightly different places.
But it's like making tomato sauce. Every family in every region has their way of doing it.
And their way's right.
Which makes it fun to try all of them. And you're definitely going to find some you like better than others. But it's look online. There's a lot of recipes. I do not recommend the rehydrated kits. I think they're way overpriced. I think they taste terrible.
Yeah.
If there's a frozen product, we bought some pretty good ones that were frozen that we used for weddings and where I had to do thousands of them. And then if you have time to make them, it's a luxury. It's a lot of fun.
Do I have a Jello mold?
Jello mold. We have a couple of bunt pans which can be used for Jello molds.
Yeah.
My mom has some Jello molds, which are more the
I don't cook. Remember,
they look the coppery color because they're a little more non-stick, and of course now you can do the silicone ones. Yeah.
But no. It's funny that you asked me that question though. Tina, I'm not.
I kind of like Jello. I mean, you can do some terrible things to it, but I don't mind it.
I don't mind Jello. No.
I know a lot of people, just because of cafeterias or hospitals, they're just very adverse to it. But I do think if you treat it properly, it's
fine.
It's fun.
Baby needs to have a Jello cake.
A Jello cake.
Okay.
What do you put in your Jello? That's a good question for people. What is your traditional, your family, or your growing up? What were the common things put in your
My
Jello?
mom did. She would use her casserole dish.
Yeah, well, that's glass dishes or your Pyrex or your what is it? Out of New York.
Corning.
The Corningware out of New York. Yep.
Where we got our St. Bernard from Corning, New York.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she would do that, and then she would all she was she's not much of a cook, but she would take the canned fruit mixes and put that into the
Oh,
Jello.
that's level 1 Jello
Yep,
making,
yep.
which is good. I mean, it works great.
Yeah, it was fine.
Fruit cocktail, yeah,
Yep.
I can't complain with that. That works
It's
fine.
easy. I could do that.
That works good. Don't use fresh pineapple. Always use because the enzymes will break down your Jello will not gel.
Really?
Yeah, there's papayas, pineapples, mangoes, a variety of things you need to use a cooked fruit. I was waiting to hear about somebody putting the Cool Whip in.
Yeah.
Strawberry pretzel salad. Tell me about that one. That's new.
Huh. No, I haven't heard of that one yet.
Let's see. Sour cream has gone in Jello.
You got sweet and salty with that though.
Cottage cheese in Jello.
Oh, I don't like cottage cheese
My
anyway.
mom could. I like cottage cheese. Good cottage cheeses. Again, there's a lot of bad cottage cheese out there.
It may just have been my experience growing up. My mom loved cottage cheese and peaches, and that was off
I'm
her
not
side.
huge with the fruit. I just the sweet salty.
And she'd have her
I can
iceberg
eat
lettuce
it, but it's
under
not. That's so old
Yeah, I
country
know.
club. It's total country club. The scoop
She
of
was
this.
never country club.
I know that's just you'll find them in all the old cookbooks. That's not my favorite. I like the most.
Yeah. Called it salty salad, huh? Luther from the Midwest, so
Yeah, the lime jello
casseroles
and cottage
jello.
cheese actually taste pretty good. I don't mind the pine. You got to be a little easy on the shaved cabbage. A lot of people, I think that's a Dutch thing around here, is putting the shaved cabbage in jello.
Yeah, I've never had that.
A small amount's okay. It can get a little, you know what? Because you don't like grinding of like forks on plates, you can
No.
get a squeaking of the raw cabbage with the jello in your teeth, which is pretty obnoxious.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, forks on plates are
pretzel butter crust, strawberry jello. Really, pretzel? That sounds interesting. That's a total new concept.
with Cool Whip on top.
I could see that.
Berries and Cool Whip on top.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually sweet
sounds
and salty.
okay.
I
It's
love
a sweet and salty. Yeah, that doesn't sound bad at all. That's totally different though.
Yeah.
Pretzels with butter on the bottom.
Cream cheese mixture, then strawberries.
Yeah, okay.
Jello.
I think that'd probably be okay.
Yeah, a couple versions of that.
Yeah.
Mom hated cottage cheese, only bought to feed the puppies.
Puppies, really. And you know there's multiple types of cottage cheese. Was it grandma that put shaved cabbage in the jello? That's got to be from this area and all the Dutch.
The Dutch or the Germans?
Or the Germans, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of Dutch and German farmers and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was grandma that did that. She also did the large pearl tapioca with the peaches, which I kind of liked. It's rare to find the large pearl. The large pearl tapioca is almost 1/4 inch pearls.
Yeah.
It's
like in bubble tea.
Yeah, it's a little smaller. It's almost that big. Yeah. You can get 3 sizes of pearls. And then you can get tapioca powder. You can get, so cottage cheese, you can get a fine, you can get a regular, and you can get a chunky. And the chunky, I've even seen it square cut, like it's curds that were cut with a wires. Mm-hmm. I find the large to be kind of a mouthful. The fine and the regular. But also, so cottage cheese is actually just cheese curds. It's mashed cheese curds, and you typically you salt it pretty heavily to bring up the flavor, and then you put half and half or heavy cream over the top so that you're adding the rich cream to the lighter curds. So now if you think about good milk, if you take good milk and good heavy cream or good half and half fresh cream and salt, and you put those together and you have it done the way it should be done, it's actually a very, very tasty dairy cheese item.
Yeah, so that would be interesting.
You can get different amounts of fat in your cottage cheese. So again, if you push
maybe it was a texture thing for me.
Well, a lot of people it's the texture, or it's the circumstances of
just what it's with all the time.
Again, hospitals and cafeterias and old people and whatever. It's pretty good with pears. I don't mind it with pears.
I'll take the pears. Love pears. Yeah. So anyway, it make me hungry again.
So yeah, there you go. That's going back. My book, that book on Michigan, the pickled walnuts and watermelon cake, has some. You want to talk about getting into some combinations and some old school stuff.
Oh,
That
there it is.
book,
Walnut pickles and watermelon
that
cake.
book has some serious stuff. I was looking through there astonished at things. A lot of stuff with celery.
That one.
Yeah, this is a hard book to get a hold of.
Yeah.
I paid pretty dearly and had a hard time finding it, but I really wanted it.
A Century of Michigan Cooking.
They didn't issue a lot of them.
Yeah. No, that's.
But man, you could look through the index, and these are all from this region, mostly
Caviar
Southwest
jelly.
Michigan.
Caviar jelly?
Yeah.
Okay. Fish macaroni. Well, you put macaroni with everything around here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mustard cucumbers. Okay.
Mustard cucumbers are pretty good, right? Smart weed pickles.
Smart weed pickles. What's that?
English mixed pickles, hodgepodge. That sounds like chow chow. What is that? Green tomatoes, half gallon of vinegar, onions, green peppers, half-pound mustard seeds, black mustard seed. That sounds more like a chow chow. Brown spice. It's a sweet and sour.
Oh, we should send hodgepodge to the Hodgepodge Homestead. Give them the.
That's true. So these are all listed where they came from. So that was Detroit in 1881. So these are mostly late, 1800s through the early 1900s.
Shamrock salad. Stuffed sweet green peppers with cottage cheese mixed with a few chopped nuts.
Oh yeah, great raw green peppers and cottage cheese. That's a stomach turner.
And chopped nuts.
And chopped nuts. Oh.
And a pinch of onion, salt, and a little olive oil.
That sounds like classical dining. It sounds terrible though.
Where's the shamrock come from?
Because it looks like a shamrock when you cut the pepper.
I guess. I'm thinking they might have something. I'm thinking, something that looks like
school.
A shamrock, like
cottage
clover
cheese
or
with
something.
grapes. Make sure they're like peeled grapes. Yeah.
The bird's nest salad.
Yeah, banana salad. That's got to have crushed ice, pulverized sugar, orange juice dressing with vanilla, set on ice.
Couple hours.
Slice the fruit. Yeah,
Huh.
I don't know. This is just a few pages. This book is loaded with.
They have pickled eggs.
Pickled eggs are, if done properly, are good.
I just lost your marked page.
Oh no, that's just a
receipt or something.
That was the reseller receipt.
Okay.
Fancy. Yeah,
This book is funny.
This book is. I went through page by page. It's pretty crazy.
We should pick random recipes out there, and do cooking videos.
Well, there's the ladies that do the old. I forget what their channel.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah.
They pick crazy recipes, then they commentate them, then they make them, and then they taste them. And they found some horrendous stuff that just they can't. They had one that had bananas and ham, deli ham. Bananas, and I think they made like a bechamel or a hollandaise sauce, and then you broil it. And they're like, everything is wrong about this.
What a time to come in late. We were looking at that book, by the way. That's A Fishes and Loaves Life.
I'm wondering if that banana recipe was supposed to be plantains, because plantains aren't so sweet. Ham, plantains, and a bechamel gratinade might have been more palatable than sweet bananas. That might change. Yeah.
So Fishes and Loaves, we were actually talking about a book that was hard to find, that Mike was able to find 100 years of Michigan recipes, and it's called Walnut Pickles and Watermelon Cake, and has odd recipes, historic recipes, and it does cite where they're from.
Oh yeah, here we go. That's a good contribution to the Jello.
Recipe archaeology.
Recipe archaeology. They have great stuff.
Yep.
I haven't seen.
Apple salad. Yeah.
Yes, the mayonnaise in the Jello. That's a great contribution. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Adding mayonnaise. But so you also had in classical French cuisine, you had chaud-froid, which was hot cold items. So they were all glazed with aspects, which is gelatin or pig gelatin. And to make a white aspect, you add in things like cream, sour cream, mayonnaise to change the color for the glaze. So a lot of this were people trying to replicate fancy French things, and some of it was successful and some of it wasn't. Almost all of that is out of style, although a little bit's coming back again.
Cottage cheese with grapes.
Yeah, so using mayonnaise and then binding and thickening or stiffening it with gelatin. That's I like using coconut milk. That works pretty well. I mean, you can do some fun stuff gelatinizing with coconut.
Oh, that's cool. Your mom said that they used to use caviar from fish out of the St.
Yeah,
Joseph
yeah,
River in Michigan, and
yeah.
then the sturgeon went
They're
away.
starting to come back a little bit, I hear
Yeah.
now, and they're kind of working on some pollution issues, but that's getting a lot better. I think your dad was saying there's a selective. Well, there's a state of Michigan has a selective sturgeon harvest.
For
I
one day
It's
up
one.
north.
Sometimes it's 30 minutes, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
It's like
15 fish, and the DNR watches this one area. I was
it's like on one
And
river,
they count it and they radio it in. I mean, it is fully, and they're like, "That's it, we're done."
and you have to report the number of fish you got, and you're limited to a very small
Yeah, it's
number.
like, yeah, it's 50
Yeah.
fish or 30, 15 fish on permits, one per. Yeah, very, very limited. I did have sturgeon. It was a imported sturgeon
Cool
recently
Whip strawberry
at a
pie.
restaurant. Cool Whip strawberry pie. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there's.
My dad loves Cool Whip.
So I haven't had a
He
long
keeps he
time.
keeps like buying it when he comes to visit and leaves it in our fridge, and we don't use it.
Yeah, he leaves it here, and I'm like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
forget about it, and then
No,
eventually it's been there for. Oh,
Tina, that could be taken the wrong way.
what about the well, if any of you have seen the video on the almond rancher that's milking all the almonds, there's a YouTube video.
No.
It's a great one.
Oh no.
Yeah, he has a whole almond milk ranch.
Is it like the pasta that grows on trees for the Olive Garden
It's
commercial?
pretty good, but it's even more. It's as convincing. No, that wasn't the pasta that grows on trees. Was a BBC like 1950s when pasta was a fairly unknown thing. They made this whole black and white
Yeah, but the
mock-up. That was
Olive Garden redid that in a commercial in like the late 80s or early
yeah.
90s. I
You
think,
can
or
you can
maybe
pull
mid
the you can
80s.
pull the black and white one
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember the Olive Garden commercial.
Stuffed camel. I have heard. Yeah.
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 Anyway, so any other questions for Ask the Chef? Or are we just still going through
Coconut
random?
milk, but juice. Yes. Coconut juice. Not juice. Coconut juice. Yes.
Yeah, no, I've had coconut water.
Coconut water is fine. You can do
Yeah.
all kinds of things with that.
Yeah, I've
And
had
you
it
don't
straight
have
from.
the fat, so it actually sets up easier.
They would give it. They would when we were in Trinidad. They would tap the coconuts for you and stick a straw in it, and you walk around.
Yeah. Well, the salt and
drinking
enzymes, it's a original energy drinks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's lower sugar, but has a little electrolytes and sugar in it.
Yeah, but the odd thing to me was I'm used to having things chilled to be refreshing, and it was 90 degrees outside, and your coconut was the same temperature.
Yeah, I don't think that room temperature coconut water tastes very good.
No.
When it's chilled, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people use it in cocktails and things too.
Anyway,
not Coco Lopez. That's a whole different. That's the sweetened manufactured, which tastes good, but it's
sweetened.
Totally different.
Yeah. Pasta. I saw the Pasta Harvest documentary years ago.
There's drawing the spaghetti
convincing.
on the fences and pulling off the tree. No, it was a very good documentary for the time. They did a great job, and a lot of people believed it and were trying to buy spaghetti trees to grow them because again, pasta was so unknown.
Where are we buying our cookbooks? She wants to. Fishes and Loaves wants to know.
I really like Abe's books. I hate to give that away, but they're a huge resource. Amazon has a bunch of old books. Used cookbooks that used to be very expensive. Many of them are like $5-10. You can haul in more books than you can read. Amazing, amazing stuff. And sometimes I want first prints, or I want them a lot of times because I use them. If they're in good condition to excellent condition, I don't care. Like that one was sun bleached. I don't care if they're perfect because I'm not collecting them for I don't think they're very investable.
For collector.
I want them for historical. Well, I have a lot of old historical books, but Abe's has tremendous amount of great books available.
Yeah, it was on April Fool's.
Sometimes they're $1 books. You get them for $1, and then you got to pay $3 shipping to get them in. But really, really affordable.
Yeah. It would be fun to do a series of videos where you're picking random recipes from that book.
Yeah.
historic recipes, the oddest things,
Well, a lot of them are
and
based
someone's already doing it,
upon,
but
so
yeah,
they were through from Detroit, and then a lot of them were actually focused on the west side of the lower west side of the state
yeah.
where we live, which is a heavy agriculture. So if you're looking at what was available through the grocery stores and what was seasonally coming out of the local farms, they were working with it, and yeah, and so there's a
Yeah.
little bit, and then what was trending. So you could look what was trending in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times,
Mm.
and it was heavily affecting. Some of the bad stuff was because it was heavily trending, or people are trying to replicate fancy European things that we really didn't have the ingredients, or have the average person didn't have a good knowledge of how to produce them.
Mhm. Lokesh Holmes said, "I can't stand coconut." Oh, I
A lot of
love
people
coconut.
don't like coconut. I love it.
I love shaved coconut, sweetened
Yeah, I
coconut,
love
like in,
coconut in
dark
all
chocolate.
different ways. Yeah.
Coconut and dark chocolate, yum. Um,
The Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks are pretty good. They were actually real cookbooks until about the 80s. After that, they got really simplified. Um, the Time Life series, which there are hundreds of them on, and the Great Chef series, and there are hundreds of books and different collections. Hard to match them up on topics and regions of the world and cuisines. Those people collect them. They can be very inexpensive and very, very good. Um, Ham
Ham's.
spread, yeah, ham spread is. I find it gets really salty quickly. Deviled ham,
Mm,
basically. Yeah, yeah, that's gone out of favor. Or ham salad, deviled ham.
yeah,
It's the equivalent of the other salads. I think we still do the tuna salad and chicken salad and egg
yeah.
salad. Ham salad less so, but if you keep the salt down, it's pretty decent.
Take pictures of some of the recipes and post it to the Facebook group. Could do that too, yeah. If we try some of them, we could take pictures and put them there. We do have about 3 videos that I need to edit and get out here soon. 3, maybe 4.
We made some candied violets this week.
Yeah, so I'll get that video out.
Just did it really quick. I didn't even get fancy with it. I could do all kinds of things to make them even
Yeah.
nicer. It's just to throw
What
together because the violets are just finishing.
Yeah, so violet, and that's something you could do with some different herbs and some other edible flowers and like, rose petals and stuff like that.
Omelets are great for lunch or for any time because
Yeah, I like
they're
almonds
very
anytime.
nutritionally balanced and the ability to put many things in them. So what you do is you keep the same. You can always do a frittata or a
Mhm.
scramble where it's more integrated, but you can put so many different things into your omelet that you're constantly changing through the seasons or using bits of leftovers. It's like tortillas. You can put anything in there. I watch guys put spaghetti, uh, you know, leftover spaghetti in tortillas.
Yeah,
I have not seen macaroni and cheese in tortillas, but I'm sure it's been done.
they seem to put
But yeah,
anything in
you can
tortillas,
put
any
anything because it's a
leftover.
handle.
It's a
It's a
sandwich.
sandwich, but yeah, I think that omelets lend themselves. People put fruit. There are fruit in omelets as
I never
style,
tried that.
or European French omelet is finished with apricot jelly in it, which
Hmm.
the mild apricot jelly with a fresh, lightly scrambled, no colored egg, laid over it, is actually fairly tasty. The
Hmm.
sweet and egg thing, it's more in the dessert category. But yeah, you can get really. I like doing the kimchi's and the fermented, a lot of the fermented pastes and vegetables. Um, like right now, I'm putting one pickled ramp through
Yeah.
an omelet. Sometimes with other things, it's really good.
My only problem is that all, like, if you take a bite of it, it seems to all come out.
It needs a knife,
It
yeah,
does.
because
You have to cut
they're
it because
pretty
it's
soft.
really hard to get it cut.
Spaghetti sandwiches are pretty common.
Yeah. Yeah. Eat mine with
I
tortilla.
like
Yeah,
with tortillas. Well, now you're really getting into huevos rancheros. When you've got a tortilla and eggs, and as soon as you
Yeah.
can put beans and salsa and or leftover meats or whatever, yeah, or guacamole. You're totally into huevos rancheros, which are really good.
Fry up a wreck on the weekend.
Yeah, hash
Hash of
hash
all
is
the
the
leftovers
go-to.
and
Hash
meats.
makes hash you can really stretch and extend, and then
Yeah.
you get a nice balance of your protein and your starches or vegetables. You can hide in things that people typically don't want to eat, and balance out with lots onions and peppers and lots of vegetables and
Yeah.
beans can get in there and herbs, and you can really balance out either the cash on a meal or the nutrition or whatever that make it where people might eat it because it's covered up,
Yeah.
put a little cheese on it, whatever. So it's a good way to, yeah. And I feel like sometimes when people are bored of casseroles, I noticed on Frugal Family, a lot of people complain about eating casseroles, especially a lot of the men. They don't feel like if they don't have a
Piece of
chunk
meat.
of meat that they're kind of getting ripped off. And I think a hash is a good way with pulled meats to effectively do what's in a casserole and maybe get around that. And I've said it before. If you think you have to have a joint of meat on your plate every day, I mean, it is a status thing. It's nice. I think that's more so than people should demand
Yeah.
on an everyday. Of course,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a whole piece of meat at times.
Cool. You have ginger coming up.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome. We have
Yeah.
some wild ginger in the area. You're not really supposed to harvest it though.
Well, we have people that grow. A
You do have
number
people who
of
grow it.
farms grow. They
Mhm.
put it in about now. They harvest when it gets cold, and they get small pink, which is very tender. It's very nice. It doesn't fully mature, but it's very tasty.
Mhm.
And I mean that's kind of like what you do for sushi. Pickled ginger is that young ginger.
And I did finally get my tomato seeds into starts today. So that was another thing I did today in a rush. And some herbs.
Yeah, hash can kind of look like a pile,
Yeah, I can.
but yes, it's well, and then you have a good reason to put sriracha or ketchup on it or whatever. You could just, yeah, it makes for good food.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can bind it together with eggs, or if it's really a mess, you crack some eggs in, bake it off, and call it a frittata or a quiche.
Macaroni and cheese calzones.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm. Sauce on the side. It's a restaurant. Um,
Hmm.
that's
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
put a little bacon in there.
Yeah. Well, bacon goes well with anything.
I guess it holds it all together. Man, I bet if those come out of the oven, they'll burn you. Those got to be hot.
Yeah.
The hot macaroni and cheese. Probably a little messy.
Yeah.
I'd like to put sriracha. I'd finish that with some sriracha.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we should wrap up because it's well after 10 already, and I do work this week, and you have early
I got a
mornings.
special visit to jail tomorrow morning. I need to
You
report
don't
to
get a
jail. 8 a.m. report to jail.
you don't get a get out of jail free card.
No, I get into jail for free. Was asked to speak with a number of chefs, and there's a day for a culinary training program at one of our correctional facilities, and I was asked to go, and so I cleared my day, and it's a whole bunch of it's going to be really fun. It looks like a great program. It's a whole symposium doing different things and contests, and yeah, so
Yeah, that'll
I'm
be
going to do that
interesting.
for most of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, so you have a busy today tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow. Plus you could smash hash into a little pancake and fry it in hot oil and yummy.
Yeah, well, that's what you see a lot through Asia and India is
Yeah.
using batters to make pancakes with your herbs and your and things that fritter, and then you can do the fritters, and you bind them, and you find that all
Yeah.
where almost anything, corn fritters, and yeah, so fritters is another good way to use up bits and pieces, or make a meal, and then you can make a couple of fritters, and you can actually stack it between other things like other again leftover meats or pulled items or vegetables. So now you get a really complex plate because you have this layer
Yeah,
ability.
yeah. Well, yeah, so we will definitely wrap up before we get distracted on another down another rabbit hole. But thank you guys.
Nothing happened in the garden, by the way, this week between rain and work.
No. No, I planted some tomato seeds. I
That's not
started
in the
to
garden.
It
That's in the greenhouse.
is in the greenhouse.
I didn't get any soil turned.
No.
Nothing. So next week.
Next week, I have a couple days off. As long as I could get my paperwork done at work, I will be home and working in the garden. So, and if it rains, I might work on videos. But yes, thanks 13 Moons. We enjoy doing live shows. They're a lot of fun to chat with all of you guys and hear your guys' stories as well. It's
Yeah.
all back and forth. That makes
Go cook with some Jello and tapioca and cottage cheese.
and tell us what
Come
you
back and tell
made.
us if it was any good.
All three together?
No, I wouldn't do all three together. That'd be a bad idea. No more
Anyway.
than two of those together.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Jello and tapioca. That seems
That's
redundant.
pretty redundant. Yeah, that would be a.
Anyway.
You could
Okay.
stratify layers.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, guys. We'll see you guys next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. And we'll have more and hopefully some gardening updates next week. So
It's going to warm up at the end of the week.
Yay.
Things are starting to grow just a little bit. Again, we got half the garden turned. We need to get in some seeds, and we're still pretty much on track. We're running a week or two behind the whole area because of the cold winter and it's been wet. They're saying planting of corn and soy is at 20% or less. They're running really behind on commercial planting. But that doesn't mean anything. It's all about how you finish, even. So.
Known prisoners that got to eat green bologna and nothing that required a chef.
This is a group. This is a chef who teaches. He actually teaches them technical, so that for career.
He teaches them cooking skills.
Because Food World is one of the places that, while checking backgrounds, is more okay with employing people that have a record, as long as they're doing good things now, and that's definitely the case. Some of the plates I'm seeing he's put on Instagram, the guys are doing, they're pretty good. They're actually giving some decent ingredients to work with. It's nice. So.
Yep, so we'll give you an update on how that went, as well as our garden, hopefully, updates next week. So have a good night, everybody. I'll say good night for the third time, and we will see you next time.
Good night.
Bye.